Robots Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
Are you stoned or something?
They tried stoning me, my dear. It did not work.
He likes to create his own sauce.
Well, did you sleep with a man who also slept with Mom and Grandma Catherine?
What? You slept with Dad?
All right. Which one of you sardines called this meat?
Whatever, Major Loser.
Let the party begin!
Hello, and welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. The podcast that puts cult in the culture. That's Simone LaRue.
And that's Chad Ekowitz. What an intro.
That's all I want, Simone. I cannot lie to you. I just want to be a cult leader. Like, that's all I want in my life.
Just want to be on a lot of drugs, being like, you know what needs to happen for Ascension to go right is I need to sleep with your wife.
You see, not even that. It's just like a really chill cult where our only like really kind of big rule is that you have to wear pajamas all the time. That's like the only thing about this cult. There's no drugs. Like you can drink, of course, but not like there's no pressure to drink. There's also no pressure. If you want to have sex with everyone, go for it. But there's no pressure. If you want to have sex with me, again, no pressure. But if you wanna, that's fine.
God, this just sounds like you really miss having friends around.
Is that what that is?
Is that what that is? Just a gang of friends hanging out consensually.
Except maybe the sex part. I mean, I don't know about your friends, but we don't.
I mean, my friends and I have sex all the time, so it's completely
You're
different.
Just bohemian and cool like that?
You know, sometimes you just have to see what happens.
Oh, wow. Okay. So this is a really weird intro to the podcast.
You started it.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It was on me. I made this the dark episode. But if you haven't listened to our podcast before, this is the podcast where we take two bad movies every week and we say nice things about them because, you know what? Life is about happiness.
It sure is.
You know, and we're in such a dark time, but you know what? We can bring the joy. We can bring the light. It's up to us. We've got the magic in us.
These two plucky young kids are gonna be watching movies and saying okay things about them.
And this week is no different whatsoever. What movies are we doing this week?
We are doing animated movies from 2019 that did not do great, and that is going to be UglyDolls and the Addams Family.
Yeah, I had a lot of high hopes for the Addams Family, and it just kind of fell by the wayside.
Yeah, I mean, like, we'll get into it, but yeah.
So, Simone, I mean, before we even get into the podcast, I think we should tell the people how much fun we had on Saturday.
Yes. By the time this comes out, we'll have done this twice.
Oh, yeah, shit. Okay, so what are we doing every Saturday at about 1 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. South African time, and 6 p.m. UK time?
Well, as long as lockdown is going on and we don't have anything better to do on a Saturday night, Chad and I have been, we did our first live stream watching a movie with our buddy Eric Gold from the Nintendo podcast. It was really, really fun. It went surprisingly well, considering how poor our grasp on the technology was.
Yeah, and I think a massive thanks goes out to your boyfriend Rudy for organizing that, because without him, it would have been an absolute
it wouldn't have happened.
Fucking disaster. I mean, that whole week, we've been trying to prep for this thing because very uncharacteristically, Simone and I decided to actually sort of do a test run beforehand.
Thank God.
Every single time, oh my word, what a disaster. It almost melted my computer. You almost had a meltdown. It was just meltdowns everywhere. But it was super fun. It was a really great time. We had some great sort of viewers who were making comments during the movie. Yeah. We were all making comments. So guys, please do join us. We're going to do it every Saturday that the lockdown continues. And if you've got any suggestions on what movies we can do, it would be awesome to hear from you guys on that.
They don't necessarily have to be bad, although watching the bad movie is more fun.
Yeah, exactly. How boring would it be if we were all just sat around watching like Avengers Endgame together?
To be honest, my reactions during Endgame were pretty lively.
That's also true. Yeah, I did cry a lot.
Oh my God, I cried so much. But let's not do any movies where we cry.
No, I don't think that's necessary, strictly speaking.
No.
So, Simone, let's get into this then. What are you drinking this week?
I am drinking, I think, the last Black Label in our house.
Wow.
Yeah. It is what it is. I'm drinking it. I split it with Rudy. We have like the 500 ml cans, so we each took half. But there
That's so
is
depressing.
hope on the horizon because I finally found pineapple in the stores yesterday. So I'm making my own pineapple beer, and it should be ready in the next 2 days or so.
I am so excited to hear about your pineapple beer and whether it tastes good.
I've made it before, but never with this
Mhm.
recipe. So I'm hoping it turns out well. We'll see.
How very exciting. I was going to say to you, actually, I've been thinking about this for like the last couple of days. Maybe just while the lockdown's going, we just don't drink. Like we just scrap this segment so that, you can conserve your alcohol for when you actually need it, not just for this podcast.
What do you mean? What do you think? I don't need it for this podcast? I mean, I don't, but like, it's such a nice way to spend my Sunday afternoon is having a drink with a friend and talking about movies.
I know, but
It's okay.
you're on rations.
No, now I'm making my own. This is a self-sustaining ecosystem. I am fine.
It's this lockdown is showing us what we need from our lives, and one of those things is the ability
In all the
to
other
make our own
countries,
beer.
people our age are like making sourdough starters, and I'm like, I am making alcohol.
Hell yeah, fuck yeah. I've been thinking about it myself. It would just cost a shit ton less if I was able to brew my own beer.
The startup costs, like in terms of equipment and stuff, is a little.
Mm.
I mean, so Rudy managed to MacGyver like a valve for the thing that we're brewing the beer in, because obviously air, like carbon dioxide that's created by the yeast reaction, needs to escape, but you can't keep letting oxygen in. So he created a little one-way valve, which is very clever. But that's something very helpful to have.
That's really cool. He really is like a jack of all trades. He's like a Swiss Army knife.
He is so wonderful. Like, he solves so many problems for me, but then I'll be like, Rudy, can you make dinner? And he's like, I don't understand how this works. And I'm like, Rudy, you literally figured out how to make like a one-way valve, but you can't like work out what a simmer is. Like,
oh no.
He's actually a very good cook. He just gets very intimidated, and I don't understand.
He's such a wonderful human being. What an eccentric person. Like, he's kind of perfect for you in that respect.
He's such a dude. I love him.
Oh, how wonderful.
Chad, what are you drinking?
I am drinking, I bought like a 24 case of Stella, so that will be what I'm going to be drinking for like the next kind of couple weeks.
Must be nice.
Or week. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's not, I'm trying not to gloat.
I'm just like that bitter asshole now. Anytime someone's like, oh, I bought a bottle of wine, I'm like, good for you.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much your Black Label comes in at, but this comes in at 4.8.
I have no idea how much Black Label comes in at. Probably similar. I think I went first last week, so.
Yeah. Okay, I can do first this week. I enjoyed this movie, so I'm excited to talk about UglyDolls.
Tell me all about UglyDolls.
It's the best movie of all time.
Okay.
So, the movie opens by showing us the manufacturing process of various types of dolls. As the dolls leave the factory to be shipped to assorted stores, we see that those rejected dolls, the ones that have some sort of defect, go somewhere else. That's when we are introduced to Uglyville. This is a safe place where all rejected dolls can live in peace among their own kind. Of course, being isolated rejects, they will unfortunately never get to belong to a child, which is a doll's single purpose in life. But that's not what Moxie believes. Moxie, played by Kelly Clarkson, believes that someday she will find her kid and she'll be loved and happy. Each day, she wakes up, sings a song about how this might be the day that she finally gets picked by a kid, and then goes to bed. As time goes on, she becomes more and more despondent. The mayor of the town, Ox, played by Blake Shelton, is worried about Moxie. He knows she is depressed about not being chosen, but he also knows that, as an ugly doll, this is just not something that's going to happen. He enlists Lucky Bat, played by Lee Hom Wang, to try and talk Moxie out of this crazy idea. The sooner she lets go of this dream, the sooner she can be happy with her life in Uglyville. Lucky Bat goes to speak to her, but fails in this objective, making Moxie believe that she needs to make her own destiny and go out and find a child herself. She somehow convinces all of her friends, namely Wage, played by Wanda Sykes, Babbo, played by Gabriel Iglesias, Ugly Dog, played by Pitbull, and Lucky Bat, to come with her on this adventure to find a child. They all climb out of a tube, the tube where all the rejected dolls enter Luckyville, and end up in what is essentially a training school for dolls. This is where things get a little bit crazy. She meets what's his name, because this is the thing. All right, I will preface this what's about to happen now is in fact that I wrote half a synopsis. I was meant to finish it and then I just never got around to it, so this is where it's going to devolve into madness. So I'm just getting the names up of the last people. Oh fuck's sake. This is that pre-prep that we know from the
We know
Fresh
it's so
Tomatoes
critical
podcast,
to a good podcast, and yet we don't do it.
We just don't do it. Where is he? Because I know
It's Nick Jonas playing the doll Lou.
Nick Jonas. Is it Lou? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I can't find that on the IMDb. It's obviously such a far down friggin' character.
For some reason.
For some reason. So Lou, who is played by Nick Jonas, is in charge of these perfect dolls. And his whole job and his whole ethos is to make these dolls as perfect as possible so that when they are ready to go into the big bad world, they will be perfect for their children. Obviously, Moxie and her friends are very imperfect, and this causes Lou no end of problems. As such, he tries to ruin their lives, ensuring that they will never be able to leave this processing factory and have a kid. The whole big thing with this is they have to do the trial at the end of their training in order to be allowed to go out into a kid. If they pass, they get to go out and join, civilized life and meet a child. If they fail, they don't get to do that. So when they're doing this, they meet up with Megan? I want to say Megan. One of the dolls. You've gone on mute again.
Yeah. Megan, played by Janelle
Is it
Monáe.
Megan? Yeah. Yes. So Megan, played by Nathalie Martinet, she decides to help.
No, it's Janelle Monáe.
What? Megan's not played by Janelle, but she's played by Natalie Martinez.
Oh, what?
So
no. Megan, the doll with the glasses?
Yeah. That's what I'm assuming I'm assuming that's Megan.
It must be not be that.
This is
Oh God.
This is going so well. Your name is Megan, you're a lawyer, model, objection, Your Honor. No, so it's not Megan. Okay. Let's try this again. Who did you say it was? Janelle
Monáe,
Mandy.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, it's Mandy.
off.
Okay. I hate these fucking names. All right, so Mandy decides to hang out with Moxie and all of her crew, thinking that they're actually quite nice, and that her friends, who are the perfectionist dolls, are kind of dicks. The other reason behind this, and the thing that is her secret shame, is that she wears glasses and therefore is not perfect. So she feels more in tune with the ugly dolls than she does with her own kind. Shenanigans ensue in which Lou tries to get them back. He eventually reveals that Arx, the mayor, actually was best friends with Lou a while back, but obviously Arx wasn't able to defeat the trials, so Lou agreed that he was allowed to create Uglyville so that all the ugly dolls won't just get turned into scrap and be remade into perfect dolls later in time, but actually have a place to live and be in peace. And now Moxie's upset this whole balance, and so Lou is deciding that he's just going to shut down Uglyville and reopen the recycling process. Obviously, Moxie realizes that this is bullshit and that, in fact, Lou was actually never a friend of Ox's and he was actually just a dick. So then Moxie and her whole crew return back to Perfectville and essentially run the trials and succeed in getting through to the end while Lou himself actually fails. And it's revealed that he is just a mere prototype and he will never have a child, which is kind of sad in itself. But yeah, eventually she gets to go with the child. The new ruling within sort of this realm of dolls is that you can go through and join a child whenever you want, and then once the child grows up, you can return back to the doll place and, train other people, I guess, and then return to another child at some other point. The end.
Okay, well, what's your cliffhanger?
Okay, so there are a plethora that sort of do the same thing, but it has to be this song, I guess. And it's just that song about being imperfect and how if you're imperfect, you're worthless, essentially.
Oh, the one that Lou sings?
Yeah, it's great because I love this because it's just, and I think this is the problem with both of our movies this week is that they're just such hammers on the head of the nail
Yeah.
of the message that they're trying to do. There's no subtlety.
Yeah, I think they're like so focused on like the moral of the story that they don't bother to make a good story.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this movie really requires a lot of suspension of disbelief. And I don't think they've thought through their whole system.
No, it's very clear, like, they had a concept and they were like, right, what's going to be the moral of the story? Let's focus on that and build a story around it rather than the other way around.
And like, just the whole system is so weird. Like, okay, so then the Ugly Dolls go to Uglyville, and like, it's basically this cool little working town, which for some reason goes into like a deep economic depression once everybody stops being happy. Like, okay. And then there's like the Perfect Doll place, which is just like this big open void essentially that they train in. And they can decide when they want to step through into the real world. And it seems like there's a commuting situation. So does that mean there's like an actual like corporeal form outside the void, and then like spiritually it's the dolls getting ready to like become one with their corporeal form?
I mean, you've got a good point there. That's a really terrifying thing.
It's so weird. And then like, does that mean they can like leave their corporeal form at any time to like hang out with their with their friends? Like, it makes no sense. It defies all logic. And like, I know it doesn't have to be logical. Like, it's about ugly dolls, but it's like, you know, I think watching it as an adult, like I spent so much time being like, okay, wait, how does this work? That like, I didn't even care about the story that much because they really stretch things to try and make the story work.
Yeah, it was a lot of, I think it was just, what we're going to do is we're going to get a lot of famous people to be these things.
Singers,
and we're going to have singers, singers specifically. And we're going to really force this message that we have and, you know, kind of hope for the best, hope that will sort of give us a winning formula. Because like, you just made a really good point that I didn't even think about, because like, obviously in the beginning they show us the manufacturing of the dolls and like the machines making them and shit, and then if one's wrong it goes to Uglyville. But these perfect dolls are actually just souls, and then when they go through that fucking thing, they get chosen to be like a lawyer / model or a businessman / model, which I did agree like was one of the funniest parts of the whole movie.
Actually, for me, the funniest part of the movie was like Gibberish Cat or Babble Cat.
Gibberish Cat was great.
I don't know why. That struck the right chord.
For me as well, it's the unicorn. Do you know who voices the unicorn, Simone?
Isn't it? It's fucking Ice-T.
It's fucking Ice-T. What is that about?
That's another thing though. Like, this movie has like a really good cast and like super on brand. Kelly Clarkson and Janelle Monáe sing a song called Unbreakable about being yourself. Like, shoot me in the face. I love both of them. It's just like, okay, guys.
We've got it at this point.
We get your brand. Okay. So like Kelly Clarkson sings like her big opening song. Her and Janelle Monáe sing the big like "We Can Do It" song. Nick Jonas sings his bad guy song, and that's basically it. But there are all these other like musical talents, like the three like ladies. It's like Lizzo, Baby Rayha, fucking Charlie XCX, like that are just never used. I think they each get like one line in the ending song.
Yeah, it's so disappointing because like you said, there's such talent in this movie, and obviously like they were drawn in on the basis that, you know, they're big names and people will enjoy seeing this movie. But it's so disappointing because even Arcs, what's his name, the mayor, Blake Shelton is like a really huge country singing star, and it would just be like, you know, it would be like getting Taylor Swift in your movie and only letting her sing one song.
Are you talking about Cats? To be fair, she wrote the original song that they added to the soundtrack, which was not amazing.
Look, any slight we can get against cats, I'm gonna call it. But look, okay, I will admit, and maybe that's just because I'm such a big softie in my old age, but I did cry at the end when
Oh, when
Ugly
she gets her
Doll,
human?
when she gets a human and the human smiles and she's got 3
Yeah.
teeth. I was
And
like,
the little flower on her.
yeah,
Look,
that was
that
me.
was good. That was like solid emotional payoff. I just don't know if we needed all the like slathering it on real thick that you just need to be yourself and and you'll find someone who loves you. Like, I wish that they hadn't bothered with that plot line so hard and they just made it like really fun and had like these
Yeah.
singers doing a bunch of like silly songs. Like, I don't know, I feel like they could have made it a much more fun, less preachy
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, it would have been cool because I mean, if you think about it, the message could have been it's not so much of you just find someone who will love you for who you are, but you
Yeah.
don't have to be perfect to be loved.
Yeah.
Because if you had made it more about the trials and the fact that like Lou pushes this like sort of cookie cutter mold, and you had these ugly dolls come in and like completely disrupt the system, it would have been like a really cool metaphor for like, you know, imperfect, like there is no such thing as perfection.
Yeah.
Like it's up to the individual, which would have been really, really fun.
I mean, even more than that, like, you know, they really also drive home that like the most fulfilling, best thing that can happen to a doll is finding their child. And it would have maybe also been nice to be like, you know, you can find fulfillment like in yourself.
Yeah, and the fact that what's her name? It's what's her name? The Wanda Sykes' character Wade.
Yeah.
She has a job. Like she's an economist. Like
Yeah.
she's really, really cool. Like it would have been cool if they were just like going on that and be like, well, I don't need a child. I have a
Yeah.
business. People come to me every day. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. Like there's so much more that they could have done with this than like, ugh. The plot was exhausting. And Pitbull was in it for some reason.
Fucking Pitbull though.
He's okay. Yeah, that was a real thing that actually happened.
I love it when Pitbull is in things. Like, it's just great to see Pitbull doing anything, even his own music, because it's all just terrible. Everything that he does is just, he is the Florida of people.
I appreciate his theatricality, and I think he's developed this really interesting persona. And you know what? Good for him. People like it. But I just don't know if he was like the best choice for a small children's movie.
No, definitely not. Definitely, he gives off the very wrong vibes for a small children's movie. And you know what I love about Pitbull is the fact that I don't think anyone would openly admit to liking Pitbull. It's more a case of you shamefully will listen to his remake of Toto by Africa by Toto.
I think Pitbull's like one of those singers where like you'll get like you'll turn on the radio, you'll be like, oh, this song's like really good, like, and you're jamming out, and then you realize it's Pitbull, and you're like, I've been fooled again.
Damn it, Pitbull, you pulled the wig from under me.
I think another thing with this movie that made it like a little less compelling from like a storytelling perspective is that none of the other characters really, besides the bad guy and like maybe Mandy, like have a character arc. Like all of Moxie's friends are pretty much the same at the end as they were at the beginning. Like they're just there.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Like they were just kind of a posse that she didn't really need. I mean, they were all like, that's the funny thing about this, and I guess that's why it kind of doesn't work, is the fact that they're kind of just really nice already, and like they're very happy with their lives. Like they have no problems or qualms. They don't want anything more. They don't want anything less. And so, like, what character arc can they really go on?
Yeah,
what can you develop with these people? You can't. There's nothing. So it's a dead movie. Like not even like Lou doesn't even learn a lesson at the end. He's just like no. So yeah, I mean, is there a scene that could have saved it, or have we already kind of discussed that?
Yeah, I think we've kind of discussed our various hang-ups. What
Yeah,
about for
fair
you?
enough. Yeah, that would, I mean, just a kind of a change of a message. It's just so forced. And I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted to love these characters, and I kind of do love these characters because they are, on the exception of Ugly Dog, I do love all of them. And Wanda Sykes is a treasure, and we do not appreciate her enough as
Yeah.
a person, as an actress. But I think my breakaway character for this one is definitely Ice-T as the unicorn. He's
I'm
just
still gonna
way
go with
too
Gibberish
funny.
Cat.
Yeah.
He has 2 lines in the whole movie, and they're fuck funny.
It's so good. So would you watch this again?
No.
No?
No. I don't like if I was gonna be preached at, I'd watch Wall-E or something.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I think, yeah. I don't know if I'd watch this again. I think it's gonna be like a really unique situation where I'm
Yeah.
babysitting someone, and like they're 3, and so like the concept of like a message being hammered into you hasn't really occurred to them yet.
Exactly.
That's kind of the basis on where I'd go with this film, because like, yeah, it's all right, and the colors are fun, and the characters are fun, but you've got Toy Story for
Exactly.
this. Yeah.
Which at least is its world building a little better.
Yeah, like it was a really simple concept. Ugh. Well, okay, so that's Ugly Dolls for you. Namaste.
Well done.
Thank you. Now, tell me about the disaster that was Addams Family
I feel
2019.
like you're being very harsh about Addams Family when like literally yours is so much worse.
I mean, yeah, but let's be fair. There wasn't like a whole bunch of hype about Ugly Dolls. Like, Ugly Dolls hasn't been on for 40 years, and everyone loves it.
Okay.
Oh, you're frozen. Oh, and you're back.
You make a point. Okay. The movie opens at the wedding of Morticia Addams, played by Charlize Theron, to Gomez Addams, played by Oscar Isaac. Unfortunately, their wedding is disrupted by an angry mob who fears them because they're different and chases them out of town, along with Uncle Fester, voiced by Nick Kroll. While they're on the run, Morticia laments the fact that she has to always stay on the run, and she just wishes she could have one place to stay forever and feel safe with her family and just be herself. Fortunately, they happen to stumble upon an abandoned asylum, which they quickly turn into their home and decide to raise their family there, joined by It. No, not It. Yeah, It.
I think so, yeah. It's the Frankenstein, right?
No, it isn't. It is the one with all the hair that comes through. Oh, Lurch. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes more sense.
Joined by Lurch, played by Conrad Vernon. And they have 2 kids, Wednesday Addams, voiced by Chloe Grace Moritz, and Pugsley Addams, played by Finn Wolfhard. The family seems very content, and at the very beginning, the only main issue that they have is that Pugsley is not prepared for his ceremony to enter manhood, which the entire extended Addams family is going to come and watch. At the same time, though, Margot Needler, played by Allison Janney, is a real estate and interior designer, developer who has a TV show, and she has just opened an entire town that she designed, and in the finale in 2 weeks she wants to sell 50 houses in this town. The town is called, what is it?
Assimilation.
Assimilation.
which is, again, so on the nose.
So on the nose. The town is called Assimilation, and it's marketed as the perfect place to live where everybody is just the same. Unfortunately, because they drained the marsh, all the fog around the Addams family house disappears, ruining views from the whole town of Assimilation because the house is on a hill. So she chats to the Addams family and says, listen, I'm willing to give you guys a whole makeover, and ultimately, obviously, it doesn't go well because their styles do not match up. At the same time, Wednesday meets Margot's daughter, Parker, played by Elsie Fisher, and asks Morticia if she can go to normal high school. Morticia agrees, and Wednesday returns home wearing a unicorn beret, but also like having done some really messed up shit at school. Morticia's really worried about her, that she's like straying off the path of darkness or whatever. Wednesday also helps Parker to rebel from her own mom, and while they're dealing with that, they realize that Margot Needler has put cameras up all over the town and is using her extra information and her pull in the town to spread a bunch of rumors about the Addams family to try and get rid of them. The whole thing culminates in Pugsley Addams's manhood ceremony. I can never remember the name of it.
It's some Spanish name that I can never.
Oh, I thought it was
It's essentially like a
Romanian.
sword dance. It's a sword dance,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's like, yeah.
It's called a mazurka.
Ah, yes, the mazurka.
The mazurka. So Pugsley is woefully underprepared for the mazurka and actually fails his saber dance. Fortunately, that failure is short-lived because the villagers show up in an angry mob and start tearing the house down. Wednesday Addams saves the day and the whole family, along with Pugsley Addams and his skill with various explosives and ballistics. This causes the family to realize that Pugsley Addams is fully prepared to enter manhood and protect the family, so he wins that. Morticia realizes that Wednesday is going to be just fine, and the town, once they realize that they've been spied on and they see the Addams family mourning the loss of, the house that they destroyed, they realize that the Addams family is just like them. They feel like assholes. Everybody makes up. A large part of the extended Addams family moves into the neighborhood below, and everyone lives happily ever after.
So tell us then, what is your cliffhanger?
My cliffhanger is going to be just about any line from the scene where Morticia and Gomez are like chatting and Wednesday's like lurking behind her dad and her dad's like all stressed out. And Morticia's like, Wednesday, don't lurk behind your father. It's too easy. It's cute.
It is cute, and I think this film, more than Ugly Dolls, like had the traditional sort of idea from kids' movies where you just put in little things for the adults.
Yeah.
And that's always enjoyable. It's the fact again, and I love this because this whole thing takes place in New Jersey, and New Jersey gets such a shit rap.
I forgot that they made like all those jokes about we need to go somewhere where no one in their right mind would go. They're drive into New Jersey.
I really feel so bad for New Jersey. Just like, okay.
And I'm sure it's a lovely place.
Like from all the TV shows and stuff that we get exposed to, it's not. But it's gotta be nice. People live there still, and it's on like the border of New York, so it's gotta be kind of nice, right?
I'm sure it has lovely areas.
Even Hamilton makes fun of New Jersey. I don't understand. Like everyone hates this place almost as much as Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Oh, Florida. You also Snoop Dogg was in this movie, which was an exciting cameo.
As Cousin It.
As Cousin It.
Overall, I thought the cast was actually really well done for this movie. I liked Charlize Theron as Morticia. Oscar Isaacs is a darling.
Oh yeah.
Where do you think this movie went wrong?
Again, I think it's very on the nose. Also, I think potentially people are very tired of the really basic jokes when it comes to the Addams family of them like being miserable and like wanting to be miserable. Like there's like a level of nuance where you get like into a deeper Addams family kind of thing where it's just like what they're about, and then you get the surface level of bullshit, which is just like, oh, we like to be sad. Yeah. So I think it really was way too surface on that. And then again, like the fact that like it's a village called Assimilation, and they sing a song about being the same. Like, what do you think?
No, I definitely agree. I think it sort of sanitizes all the things that are interesting or noteworthy about the Addams family. Like like you said, it's very surface level. So it's just like, oh, they're creepy and they like living in a house with monsters. But it doesn't like what's always been interesting about the Addams family is that like, you know, they very much march to the beat of their own drum. They like have their weird interests, like sword fighting each other constantly, and like but at the same time, they're a very good family. Like, they support
Mhm.
each other's hobbies and interests. Morticia and Gomez have a very loving relationship where he
Yeah.
constantly supports her. And I know that canonically that's always been an interesting contrast to like sitcoms from the 80s and 90s, where it was always like, oh, my wife is such a nag, you know? Like, theirs was
Yeah.
always an interesting relationship because he's like, my wife is a literal goddess, and
Yeah.
Morticia's like, my husband is the best. And they just like, the only real conflicts that come from the Addams family are from the outside world. And even then, they're so polite to strangers all the time. They're always like, you know, like, you're gonna do your thing. And Morticia is like
Yeah.
the picture of good manners. And
Yeah.
like, those are just like fun nuances and interesting things that like they don't really bother with.
No, like it's completely lost. And I mean, like you said, I mean, with their politeness, they're very cool with their lives and they're very
Yeah.
comfortable with other people living their lives. And I mean, that's brought across a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's kind of lost in a way in sort of the way with the Wednesday and Morticia arc of like her trying to like control Wednesday. It's, you know, like I get it, I get the point of what they were trying to do there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's not very traditional sort of Addams family. And maybe they were trying to do something different here and trying to like adapt it for like a modern era. But it's such a progressive idea already.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Even from like the 80s and 90s. So like it kind of, yeah, just kind of lost the mark really more than anything.
Even with like Pugsley's whole thing with him getting ready for his mazurka, which is very patriarchal. Like, Wednesday obviously didn't have to do a mazurka. And like the Addams family is famously pretty progressive and egalitarian. So it's weird that they would even introduce like a manhood ceremony specifically for Pugsley that like Wednesday wouldn't also, first of all, be pissed off that she doesn't have to do.
Yeah.
Pissed off, like she doesn't even care about it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it was, look, at least this one had an A and a B plot. I'm always happy when a movie has an A and a B plot, which UglyDolls did not. It had an A plot and it was thin as fuck as it was. But yeah, like yeah. And they didn't really gel well together. It's always nice when a story sort of like complements each other with their A and B stories. And this one just didn't really mold those two together.
Yeah, no, it really, I don't know. I guess it was supposed to be kind of an origin story, right? Where like they start off as closed off, and then I think there's also an element of Morticia being very fearful because she's like, oh, you know, we just want to live our lives. We don't have to deal with the outside world, which is not Morticia at all in any of the other Addams family things. She's like, I don't give a fuck. Come at me. Like,
yeah, she's strong.
Yeah. I don't know. And then like the whole like Fast and Furious thing of like, oh, I'm protecting my family. And then that awful original song that they did for it. Like, kids can handle some nuance, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think the filmmakers like really trying to dumb it down for kids, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
I remember watching Addams
obvious.
Family Values and like loving it.
Yeah.
And all it was saying was like, you can be weird and goth and like weird things, and like you also deserve respect and attention, and your parents should still support you.
Exactly. And like, I think what's weird about this one is like they're trying to make it like more of a concept than a way of life kind of thing with with Wednesday's best friend like turning goth.
Yeah.
You know, which, look, I mean, the commentary on like modern society with like you know, nanny cams and social media and all that shit was nice. It was interesting. And the fact like Neighborhood Watch and like how that can like skew things, I thought that was like a really interesting commentary.
Yeah. So what else did you like?
I loved, look, the animation was very interesting, and I loved it. I thought, you know, Gomez, Morticia, all of them were just really well done. The irony of it was that Tim Burton back in like 2013 was rumored to be on this project, and then like it got scrapped. So I often when I was looking at this film, I was thinking that in my mind, and I think, you know, a Tim Burton style animation wouldn't have really worked for the story.
No.
If it was a different story, maybe. But yeah, I enjoyed Wednesday. I thought she was great. I love Chloe Grace Moretz. She's like the babe.
I know. She's like one of your top 5.
Oh yeah, easily top 5. And yeah, so like, you know what? It was okay. It's not an Addams Family movie in its traditional sense, but there were bits. There were nice little subtle bits of nuance that were enjoyable. What about you?
I liked them casting Nick Kroll as Uncle Fester. I think he is so funny. And it was cool to see him do something like for a kids movie where he can't be wildly inappropriate. I think he had fun with it. It sounded like he had a good time.
Yeah.
And the bit where they're talking about how Margot is like deranged and manipulative, and he's like, "Oh, throw in some halitosis, and I'm gonna marry her." Like, classic line.
Yeah.
I liked the spirit of the house, always telling them to get out.
Yeah. Like giving it coffee and then it calms down a little bit.
I love that Wednesday has a pet octopus named Socrates that like made my heart very happy. Like there are like little bits. I even like at the very beginning of the movie, I was like, okay, like I'm kind of into this. Like I think this can be good.
Yeah.
But you know.
Yeah, I think the saving grace of the movie is like the little bits. Because there's not the actual substance of the movie is not great, but it is the little bits like that are just fun. It's the fact that she's got nooses as her pigtails, like little shit that's like really doesn't create a great movie, but adds to a good movie.
Great, like these great little details.
Exactly. So what would you have changed? What's your scene that could have saved this?
So many things. I don't know. I wouldn't have bothered with the assimilation plot line at all, to be honest. Like, or at least it would have been sort of more of a B plot. Like, there's this like crazy lady trying to whatever, and then we see more of Wednesday Addams, like, you know, in junior high, trying to deal with that stuff, because the whole concept of her being in a high school that's very preppy is kind of hilarious, and it's explored in like the one scene where she brings all the dissecting frogs back to life, which is amazing. But it would have been nice to see more of that. It would have been nice if they'd gotten rid of the Mazurka plot and found something else, because it was silly.
Yeah, and it was kind of pointless and very sort of anti-Addams Family in that respect, like you were saying earlier.
And then just as a big fan of Morticia and Gomez, we don't actually see a huge amount of their relationship, or at least it's not like the sexy banter that we got from like Angelica Houston in the Addams Family Values. Like, that was incredible. She's amazing. Yeah. She's the best Morticia. But it would have been nice to see more like sexy banter with them. I know it's a kids movie though. But still, they have such a great relationship, and it's not super explored.
No, I completely agree with you. Like, I think that's the thing that we do love about the Addams Family, is just the fact that like Morticia and Gomez have this incredible relationship. And we've spoken about it already, but like it is so heartwarming as a relationship that you just don't see from even today many sitcoms. I can't really think of a relationship in a sitcom that is so supportive of each other, really. Like, I'm just trying to like, I'm literally racking my brain. I'm like thinking like Family Guy, even Lois and Peter fight. Like literally, like there is no one that I can think of as like that has such a nice relationship.
Like, of all the different conflicts in the Addams Family, their relationship is never at stake.
Yeah, exactly. And you're 100% right. Like, even if it is sexy banter, like it's good for kids to see that kind of relationship and be like, oh, this is actually what a good relationship is about supporting each other and being like sort of
weird, you know,
ineffable with each other. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I agree. Like, even like if it had been a case of keep the Mazurka, but then make it so that like they're just really supportive of the kid and not just like this weird thing that's gonna, you know, be there to show some violence, which is always sort of present in an Addams Family movie, but like show actually like Gomez supporting his kid instead of being like, oh, he's gonna fail, so yikes. Yeah.
And then also show Wednesday like being pissed off or even crashing the mazurka and being like, by the way, I can protect our family too, like just fine.
Yeah. And that's what Wednesday does. Like Wednesday is like amazing always. Like she like that's the weird thing. Like, and I love the dynamic of the Addams family because, you know, Gomez, Wednesday, and Morticia are always just like perfect all the time. Like never make a mistake. And then you've got Pugsley, who's just a fucking mess all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just wasn't written really for the fans. Like it was definitely supposed to be like for new Addams Family fans, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, what do you think about that? Like, do you think that was necessary per se?
No. Or at least like, I mean, if you want to appeal to the next generation or whatever, like there's no reason you can't get rid of like the nuance or the things that made Addams Family interesting and like a good lesson to begin with, beyond like, oh, you can be nice to people that act different from you.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's quite lazy. It's very lazy. Yeah. So would you watch this one again?
No. If I'm gonna watch Addams Family, I'm gonna watch Angelica Houston do her thing.
Yeah.
And just have a great time. And it's a shame because I liked the cast. I would love to see Oscar Isaacs as Gomez in real life would do things for me.
That's another thing. Could this be better if it was real life, like a live action movie?
I mean, I think the whole like core cast would be great. Nick Kroll would make a great Uncle Fester. They'd dress him up amazing. Yeah, it actually, if it were a live action, like it probably would have been better.
I think it would have been so much better. Like you wouldn't have
I'd
had
love
the
to
special effects,
see Charlize as Morticia.
Right? Like I'm not a huge fan of Charlize, but her as Morticia, I think,
You're like, oh, she could get it. Keep the black wig on, girl.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the big downfall about this movie is that it wasn't live action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I completely agree. I wouldn't watch this again either. It's values or bust. Values or bust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Simone. That was really fun. I'm so glad we got to do animated movies again. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, it was fun. What are we doing next week?
I have 2 ideas. Okay. Now, they're not fully thought out.
Okay.
They're just concepts right now. I didn't have time to actually investigate. So, your call. But what if we did either King Kong movies or Tarzan movies? Unless you have something else.
Both of those.
Look, it's not great, but there have been a buttload of King Kong movies.
I did like the new Kong, actually, with Tom Hiddleston.
How much did it do? What's it called? Kong?
Yeah, I think
Skull
it was just
Island.
called Kong.
Let's have a look. Kong Skull Island.
Yeah, that's the one.
75%. Sorry.
Oh, it was really fun. I liked it. It deserves that score. Yeah, even the King Kong from '76.
What about
no, never mind. I don't want to do King Kong. I'm over it already.
Yeah, no. Look, they seem to have done really, really well. So that's a no-go.
So
let's look
it's
at Tarzan.
Gonna be Tarzan.
Let's have a look. So it's definitely not going to be the animated one because.
I mean, there's a Tarzan 2, which, my God, why?
So The Legend of Tarzan, which is the newest one, featuring a Skarsgård, got 36.
Oh,
so
that's
pretty
we can
good.
do that one.
All right, let's have a look.
Oh, okay. There was like I said, there's a Tarzan 2. There was a Tarzan and Jane animated movie.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I think it might have to be that one. Wait,
Which
and there
one?
was a
Tarzan
Tarzan
and-
in 2014?
Oh, weird. Which one's this?
Mm.
2014 got 20%. Who's in
Oh,
it?
it was animated.
Oh, that looks awful.
It looks horrible. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, cool. All right.
So we're going to be doing Tarzan from 2014 and Tarzan from 2016.
How very exciting. This is so good. So Tarzan 2014 got 20% and Legend of Tarzan from 2016 got 36%.
Okay. Do you want to lead me in to like do it properly? Because that was
yeah.
all over the place.
Yeah, it's a bit all over the place. Yeah, okay. So Simone, what are we hitting up next week?
I guess in the spirit of us having done a King Arthur week 2 weeks ago, now we're going to do now we're doing a Tarzan week, because apparently they keep making Tarzan even though we know the Disney one is perfect.
Exactly. It should just be retired, but nope, they're just like, yeah, we can do better. Who needs Phil Collins? We all need Phil Collins.
We all need Phil Collins. I have 2 ears and a heart, don't I?
I love that. That's the best line. So yes, we will be doing The Legend of Tarzan from 2016, which got 36% and a 58% audience score. And then we will be doing the weird animated movie Tarzan from 2014. And that got 20% and a 33% audience
If we can
score.
find it anywhere on the internet.
It's going to be a struggle. I know this for a fact right now. It's going to be a struggle. But what an exciting week. I already hate this week. I'm just going to say it now. And I know you do.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan. We'll have to, maybe we should do another horror movie week after this, just to bring it back up.
Cleanse our palate.
Yeah.
Well, Simone, what's your optimistic thing for this week?
My optimistic thing for this week.
They get very, very few and far between when you're inside all the time.
It sure does. You know what? I found a nice lady that does good indoor workouts on YouTube. Her YouTube channel is called MadFit. And it's nice. Like, I've started doing workouts from her channel because I was doing a lot of workouts that my Krav friends were putting up. But like, it's a lot of push-ups and burpees and squats and jump squats and box jumps and like stuff that's like really fucking hard to motivate yourself to do, especially so it like gets colder here.
Yeah.
And she does like a 4-minute workout set to like one song, and like it's nice to sort of trick yourself into working out because you're like, okay, I'll just do the one song, and then like you've done it, and then you do the next thing. And she has like workouts that are a bunch of different lengths, and some are just stretching, so it's like some are like intense. Like
that's great.
It has been a real godsend for my poor body.
Yeah, because you can't go out and run anymore.
No.
You can't do anything. So that is really, really helpful.
I was so desperate to run that I set a timer for 15 minutes and just ran a loop in my garden over and over again for 15 minutes.
Oh, damn.
It was wildly boring.
These tough times that we're in, that's so rough, man.
It's fine. You know, first world problems. Like, I'm very privileged that this is the problem I have.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, no, I get you. I get you.
What was your optimistic thing for this week?
So obviously I'm studying a lot now because I've got the time to do it, and my exams are in less than a month. But what's really nice is that on my breaks I'm reading, and it's just so nice to actually have weirdly more time to read now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like loving getting through books like so much quicker than I usually would. I've just finished The Haunting of Hill House, which is obviously the inspiration for the Netflix, and it was very, very good. Really weirdly scary. Yeah, definitely worth picking up.
Okay.
Very, very sort of Woman in Black, Susan Hill kind of vibes.
Okay. I do need another audiobook, so I'll see if I can.
Yeah, hit it up. There you go. So yeah, that's my optimistic thing for the week. And guys, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate your time. We really love it when you guys listen to us. And thank you to those members who joined us on the live stream on the Saturdays. It was so much fun to chat with you a little bit and just like watch a movie with you in real time. It's something that we don't get to do very often, and it was just super duper fun. And it's kind of like the origins of this podcast. It's why Simone and I kind of started this whole thing out.
Yeah.
So it was just really fun. And guys, you know, if you got that little bit of extra time in between the time where you move from the couch to the kitchen and then back from the kitchen to the couch, why not leave us a review? Why not leave us a rating? It really, really does help, especially now that we've got more time to watch movies and stuff. We'd love to get your opinions and things, get to find out what bad movies you're watching, whether you like watching bad movies, and then just go from there. So where can the people find us, Simone?
They can talk to us on Facebook or Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, on Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP. They can email us at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com. They can hang out with us on the Robots Radio Discord, and they can come check out our YouTube channel.
Yeah. And guys, again, thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. And as we say at the end of every week, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Excellent.